Hello everyone. Today we have a Lamborghini Urus and a short video about how the Urus looks like with about 100,000 kilometers. Yes, it happens. You are all probably used to see in any case in the ads of some bloggers on reviews. Cars are almost new, or brand new, or with minimal mileage. But as you realize, these cars, those who actually drive them, have been in circulation for quite a long time because they are not a year and not 2 years old. And accordingly, these cars already have high mileage. Specifically, this car has a mileage of close to 100,000 kilometers. And it is actually not much, but from the point of view of Lamborghini, it is quite a lot, because not so often you will see Lamborghini with such mileage. But again, back to the fact that this is a Lamborghini designed for everyday driving. It's not an Aventador, it's not even a Huracan. Basically, this is a car you can and should drive every day. So, on 100,000 kilometers, it's not a big deal in a global sense. But now I'm going to show you what it looks like from the inside. But he also came to us for a checkup. It's always saying one error, by the way. It's a very interesting story because the whole point is that the design feature of the car is this. When you accelerate sharply, but let's say when you press the throttle sharply, the engine starts to shift on. Of course, it is on cushions, on supports. Well, and accordingly, at this moment, at the moment of movement of the motor under the hood, one of the sensors constantly slipped. To be honest, it took a little bit of trouble, but nevertheless, all is well. We found the fault, why it was coming on, but we've also solved that question. It's actually a very, very unusual story, but it's quite instructive. But let's get back to our sheep. It's a high mileage, or real mileage, because now mostly all cars are imported, or rather, not mostly, but all cars are imported and what mileage they actually have, you understand. In general, it is probably not even impossible to detect it, but it is generally on the seller's conscience. Well, in general, you for an idea of what a car looks like here is about this mileage. So, if someone will be looking for such a car, at least you will understand what percentage, what degree of wear and tear at Tracon mileage we will have on the showroom. But statistically, it's a standard story. The passenger front seat, the seats, it usually looks perfect. The main emphasis, the main point of course, should be on the driver's seat. But again, there are a lot of nuances about the driver's build, about where the car is driven, because, you get in and out all the time in the city. But if the car is driven more on the highway, then in principle, a person is more in a stationary position in his seat. So the driver's seat does not come in does not become in a miserable form after 100,000 kilometers. Anyway, it's a nuance. Double glazing, by the way, is a cool thing. I would advise, probably, to all manufacturers of parkettes, and not only to make such glass, because it is a good functionality, good noise insulation, but in general useful thing. Especially this summer there was a big temperature, a big heat, and it would also, I think, help to move comfortably. But in general, in the back, this kind of mileage for the most part is not felt. But again, statistically speaking, most people either drive alone or with two people. There are, of course, exceptions when a constantly loaded car. Here, of course, the interior will wear out simultaneously everywhere, evenly at the same time. But here the situation is different, as you have already noticed. But in general, again, the color of the seats has a very strong influence on the wear. In this situation, brown interior, chocolate or coffee, whatever you like. It's quite non-staining. The most winning, the most advantageous, is of course the black color of the interior. You can't see anything on it at all, even with colossal mileage. Creases, some hiccups, in general, are somehow leveled by black color. But here we have brown. In principle, the story is also similar, but there are light threads. On them, in principle, you can also determine some wear, because it is quite such a thing that wears out quickly. But again, there is such a moment, if you constantly ride in jeans, some black or dark blue, naturally, the beauty of this chair will lose. In general, now I have listed a bunch of options, in which even with a small mileage, maybe the interior in not very good condition. But here, of course, it is better to diagnose the thing. Raise some history. It is not always and far from always Autoteca, because Autoteca is such an option. About the mileage. Here you need to look, try to dealer. Again, the dealer will connect diagnostics and a high probability that he will determine the real true mileage. Address in an authorized station to those people who are professionally engaged in these things. And everything, I think, will be fine with you. And you will find and buy exactly your dream car, which will be in proper perfect condition. And you'll be happy with it, and you will drive it happily ever after. Well, that's all for now.